NHL has the dirtiest hits out of any sport.
All right.
Zone. Oh, Pat's already. This one's a whole lot of nasty. Nathan Horton is in some serious trouble right now.
The crowd is roaring, the puck is alive, sticks clash, blades carve through ice. And then, suddenly silence. A player collapses, blood staining the white surface. A stick swung like a weapon, a sucker punch from behind. A hit so late it bordered on criminal. In one violent instant, hockey shifts from exhilarating to horrifying. These weren't just hard checks. These weren't plays you could shrug off as part of the game. These were moments that crossed the line. Cheap shots so vicious, so dirty, they scarred the NHL forever. Tonight, we look back at the ugliest chapters in hockey's history as the dirtiest cheap shots the sport has ever seen. Hockey is a sport built on speed, chaos, and raw physicality. The thunder of bodies crashing, the boards rattling, the roar of fans after a bone-crunching but clean hit. It's all part of the spectacle. Fans don't just expect physical play, they demand it. It's woven into the DNA of the game. But there's a line, a difference between tough hockey and dirty hockey, between an honest check and a play designed with only one purpose, to injure. Sometimes it's revenge, sometimes it's frustration boiling over, and sometimes it's a player simply losing control. Whatever the reason, when that line is crossed, the consequences can be devastating. Careers have ended, lawsuits have been filed, and rivalries have been written in blood. These are the moments that hockey fans will never forget. Todd Bertuzzi on Steve Moore, 2004. March 8th, 2004, Vancouver Canucks versus Colorado Avalanche. Everyone knew this game wasn't about standings or playoff races, it was about revenge. Weeks earlier, rookie Steve Moore laid a controversial hit on Vancouver captain Marcus Naslund, injuring him. For the Canucks, it wasn't just a cheap shot at their leader, it was humiliation. And in the code of hockey, payback was inevitable. By the third period, the score was meaningless. The real story was brewing in the shadows. Todd Bertuzzi, one of the league's most feared players, skated up behind Moore. Cameras caught him tugging Moore's jersey, leaning close, whispering in his ear. Then came the punch, a sucker punch straight to the back of Moore's head. As Moore crumpled, Bertuzzi grabbed his jersey and drove him face first into the ice with his full weight crashing down on him. The crowd gasped. Moore lay motionless, blood pooling beneath him. Players screamed for trainers. What had just happened wasn't hockey. It was assault. Moore's injuries were catastrophic. 3 fractured vertebrae in his neck, a severe concussion, facial cuts. His NHL career ended that night. Bertuzzi paid a price, suspended for the remainder of the season and playoffs, losing over $500,000 in salary. He faced criminal charges in British Columbia, pleaded guilty to assault causing bodily harm, and later settled a civil lawsuit with Moore. But the scar went far deeper than fines and suspensions. The Bertuzzi-Moore incident became the most infamous cheap shot in hockey history. It forced the NHL to reckon with its culture of revenge. And it remains a black mark the sport cannot erase. Marty McSorley on Donald Brashear, 2000. February 21st, 2000. Boston Bruins against the Vancouver Canucks. Donald Brashear, Vancouver's intimidating enforcer, had been punishing the Bruins all night. Marty McSorley, Boston's aging tough guy, wanted payback. With just 20 seconds left on the clock, McSorley made his move. He skated up behind Brashear, lifted his stick like a bat, and swung with full force, striking Brashear across the side of the head. The impact was horrifying. Brashear's helmet flew off as his head slammed against the ice. His body twitched violently, arms shaking uncontrollably. Players on both sides frantically waved for medical help. Fans looked on in disbelief. Brashear suffered a grade 3 concussion and memory loss. McSorley's punishment was swift and severe. Suspended for the rest of the season, then criminally charged with assault with a weapon. He was found guilty and given 18 months probation. McSorley never played in the NHL again. This wasn't a hockey play gone wrong. It was violence, pure and simple. The McSorley-Brashear incident pushed hockey into the courtroom and made it clear some cheap shots weren't just penalties, they were crimes. Dale Hunter on Pierre Turgeon, 1993 playoffs. April 28, 1993, the Islanders faced the Capitals in the playoffs. In Game 6, Islanders star Pierre Turgeon scored the goal that would clinch the series. The crowd erupted in celebration as Turgeon raised his arms and skated toward his teammates. But behind him, Washington's Dale Hunter seethed. His team's season was over and frustration boiled over. Hunter charged Turgeon from behind and leveled him with a vicious hit, and long after the puck was gone. Turgeon slammed into the boards shoulder first and crumpled to the ice. Trainers rushed to his side as the crowd's cheers turned into shocked boos. The injury was severe, a separated shoulder. Turgeon missed nearly all of the next round, leaving the Islanders without their star. They fell short. Hunter's punishment? A 21-game suspension, one of the longest in NHL history at the time. But his reputation never recovered. For many, his career will always be defined not by goals or leadership, but by the cheap shot that stole Turgeon's playoff glory. Chris Simon's infamous stomp, 2007. December 15th, 2007. Islanders versus Penguins. Kris Simon and Jarkko Ruutu battled along the boards before both fell to the ice. Most players would have let the play die there, but Simon didn't. As Ruutu lay near his legs, Simon raised his skate and stomped down on him. The arena gasped in horror. Skate blades are razor sharp. A wrong angle could have sliced Ruutu open. Luckily, Ruutu wasn't seriously injured, but the intent was undeniable. The NHL handed Simon a 30-game suspension, the longest in league history at the time. This wasn't his first offense. Earlier that year, Simon had been suspended 25 games for swinging his stick at another player. By then, Simon's name had become synonymous with dirty play. The stomp was the final straw, cementing him as one of the most reckless players in NHL history. Matt Cooke's career of cheap shots. Not all cheap shots are a single moment. Some are a pattern. And no player embodied that more than Matt Cooke. Throughout the 2000s and early 2010s, Cooke earned a reputation as the dirtiest player in hockey. Knees, elbows, blindside hits. His rap sheet was endless, but one hit defined him. March 7th, 2010. Boston's Mark Savard carried the puck when Cooke blindsided him with an elbow to the head. Savard collapsed instantly. The concussion symptoms never went away. His career, once so promising, effectively ended that night. Shockingly, Cooke wasn't suspended. The NHL called it a hockey play. The outrage was massive. Analysts, players, and fans demanded change. And change came. Cooke's hit on Savard became the catalyst for the NHL rewriting its rules on blindside headshots. Cooke would continue to serve suspensions, but his legacy was clear. He was the player who forced the league to finally take headshots seriously. Kris Simon's slash on Ryan Hollweg, 2007. March 8th, 2007. Islanders versus Rangers. Ryan Hollweg delivered a clean check that sent Kris Simon into the boards. Dazed and furious, Simon snapped. As Hollweg skated away, Simon gripped his stick with both hands and slashed it across Hollweg's face. Blood spilled onto the ice. The arena gasped in horror. Miraculously, Hollweg needed only stitches. But it could have ended his career. The NHL handed Simon a 25-game suspension. For Simon, it was another disgrace. For the league, it was a message. Use your stick as a weapon, and you're gone. Claude Lemieux on Kris Draper, 1996 playoffs, May 29th, 1996. Western Conference Finals, Avalanche versus Red Wings. Claude Lemieux lined up Kris Draper near the boards and drove him face first into them from behind. The result was gruesome. Draper's jaw shattered, his cheekbone fractured, his orbital bone broken. Reconstructive surgery was needed. Plates had to hold his face together. Lemieux was suspended only 2 games, but the real punishment came later. Detroit vowed revenge. The hit sparked one of hockey's greatest rivalries, Avalanche versus Red Wings. The following year, the infamous Fight Night at the Joe erupted, with Darren McCarty exacting bloody revenge on Lemieux. That single hit didn't just injure a player, it ignited a blood feud that defined an entire era of hockey. Domi's sucker punch on Ulf Samuelsson, 1995. March 7th, 1995. Rangers versus Flyers. Ulf Samuelsson, already notorious for cheap shots of his own, skated past the Rangers bench, chirping as usual. Domi had had enough. As Samuelsson passed, Domi leaned over the boards and sucker punched him square in the face. Samuelsson dropped instantly. The crowd erupted, some cheering, others horrified. It wasn't during play, it wasn't part of the game. It was a bench-side assault. Domi was suspended 8 games and fined. To this day, fans still debate whether it was justice served or just another black eye on the sport. Raffi Torres on Marian Hossa, 2012 playoffs, April 17th, 2012. Blackhawks versus Coyotes. Marian Hossa carried the puck at center ice. Raffi Torres, already infamous for reckless hits, saw his chance. Torres launched himself upward and smashed Hossa with a brutal headshot. Hossa collapsed, motionless. The United center fell silent as trainers rushed out with a stretcher. Hossa was taken to the hospital. His career was never the same. Concussions haunted him. Torres was suspended 25 games. For many, this was the final straw. Torres' reputation was sealed forever as one of the dirtiest players in hockey history. Each of these moments left lasting scars. Bertuzzi's attack ended Moore's career. McSorley's swing brought hockey into criminal court. Lemieux's hit on Draper sparked a decade-long rivalry. Cooke and Torres forced the league to change its rules. They weren't just cheap shots, they were turning points. From sucker punches to stick swings, from stomps to headshots, these are the plays fans will never forget. Not because they were great hockey, but because they crossed the line. The NHL has cracked down since then. Suspensions are harsher, rules are stricter, but the temptation to cross that line is always there. And when it happens, the entire hockey world takes notice. So now we ask you, which cheap shot was the dirtiest of them all? Bertuzzi on Moore? McSorley on Brashear? Lemieux breaking Draper's face? Or Torres knocking Hossa unconscious? Drop your answer in the comments. Smash the like button if you were shocked. Subscribe for more. And don't miss our next breakdown, when goalies lost their cool. The wildest NHL goalie meltdowns. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.